Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Rhett and Link, and this is Good Mythological Evening.
Wanda Vision.
All right, this is Flecking Wholesome Breakdowns. Trey and I have only been talking about how excited we are to do this for the past 25 minutes, and we're super ecstatic for all you guys to see it. So we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna go about an hour. We'll see where the conversation takes us. Mr. Wholesome.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Flecking. So we're gonna start with a just a summary, kind of rundown of what happened in WandaVision episode 4. Spoiler alert! Obviously, if you haven't already seen it, we're gonna be going through kind of the high points and stuff. So click away now if you don't want to hear that.
I meant to put spoilers in my description.
Yeah, I am actually gonna update that right now to say spoilers.
All right.
Go. Also, yeah, I don't have the sound alert on this one. I kind of just don't want it to be interrupted by the sound tonight. I just kind of want it to be Jared and I's thing. So unfortunately, no sound alerts.
But the Geek Squad.
Repping,
not sponsored.
Repping my university. So yeah, the breakdown. So spoilers. You have your time to leave now. Cool. I cannot be held liable for anything that gets spoiled. All right. So we start with the episode with a woman being blipped back from being dusted in Infinity War. She's sitting in a hospital room, rather. She doesn't really know where she's at. She's frantically looking around for her mother. Her mother being Maria Photon Rambeau. So obviously then this is the daughter, Monica Rambeau. She's looking around. Can't find her. She finds out that her mother died 2 years after she disappeared in the blip from cancer. Then we cut to sometime.
For those viewers not familiar with the blip, that's when Thanos snapped half of existence out of reality.
Correct. I'm working on the assumption that we're all on the same page here and have the useless 10 years worth of film knowledge. But yeah, the blip is Thanos snapping. So we cut to an indiscernible amount of time after where she is now at Sword Base, the sentient weapon observation and research and observation and research something. Yeah, I knew it, I had it, and then I forgot it. I know that one better than I know SHIELD, though. I still to this day don't fucking remember what SHIELD is. But yeah, so they wake up, or she's now
would be the Sentient World Observation and Response Department.
World Observation and Response Department. Yep, that's right. So yeah, so she's there, and she works there. Supposedly she can't get in. She's meeting the new director of SWORD. We learn that SWORD is now basically SHIELD, but for extraterrestrial stuff as well as terrestrial stuff. They're handling everything. So we get a little sneak peek into that, and she gets assigned a mission for a missing persons case in New Jersey. So we see her go out to New Jersey and talk to my favorite boy, my favorite federal agent, James E. Woo. Talking to Agent Jimmy Woo about how the missing person was in witness protection. And not only that, but the known relatives and friends did not know who this person was at all as once they went missing. That this person was wiped from the face of the earth of everything, basically. So they send in a drone to try and get a better view of this town because they can't get into the town themselves. As soon as they do, drone goes away, goes poof. They have no idea where the drone is at. Monica goes to check what took it in, and she is sucked in to this whatever, this energy field.
She also went poof.
She also went poof. So with that, then we start sort of the sword side of everything. Sword's now trying to research. We bring in my favorite girl, Darcy Lewis.
Kat Dennings.
Kat Dennings.
Whose immediate first introduction is her shitting on a dude who didn't want to talk in a van.
Yep. So what do you all do? Oh, we're not supposed to talk to each other. Boy Scout leader. Got it. Love that. I love that line. But yeah, so we got Darcy Lewis and then 3 other, cannon fodder characters kind of sitting in this truck getting escorted to the sword outpost base. They're talking. One of them's a chemical engineer, something, artificial intelligence, and then neurophysicist or astrophysicist. Yeah.
And keep in mind, this base is right outside of the place where Monica Rambeau got sucked into. It's literally right next to it. The town it's called Westview. Correct.
So yeah, so the town that they're investigating is called Westview. No one has any recollection of this town. Even the police that are outside of it, they say that this town never existed. And so they set up their base outside of this Westview so that they can research it. So as the episode continues, Darcy is doing sort of her thing, picking up radiation, the cosmic radiation that is being expelled from this town, from this field. And inside that radiation, she picks up some frequencies over top of just the radiation noise. When she taps into that frequency, she is given a 50s sitcom of Wanda and Vision. The exact episode 1 that we were shown. That exact episode 1 is shown to her now.
Yeah, this whole episode is occurring over the first 3 episodes that we have seen of WandaVision.
So they go and they're now using these episodes to link characters in the show to the missing persons files that they have for these people. And they go and they match them up as best they can. And we'll get into that in a minute because I have something about that. But as they're investigating... Sorry, what did I say? As they're investigating, they come up with a plan to try and communicate with Wanda. They realize that Wanda and Vision are inside of this, so they come up with a plan to try and communicate with Wanda through her radio, which leads into episode 2's Wu's voice coming over the radio, asking, "Who's doing this to you, Wanda? I'm here to help you," all that sort of stuff when she's talking to Dottie. As soon as that happens, we're met with the... Ooh, that was loud. Once that happens, they fail that mission of trying to connect with her. Then another sword agent shows them an image.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there real quick. While that's happening, so Jimmy Woo is the one trying to talk to WandaVision through the radio in the scene in the show. And Kat Dennings' character, Darcy, is watching the show live as it's happening. Right. And the whole part where Woo is trying to talk to WandaVision, it cuts out of the TV show. And then you just see the girl, she had broken her hand on glass, the lady Wanda was talking to, and it completely cuts all over that. And so that's when Darcy is like, oh, this was a fail, nothing happened. But something happened.
Right. So yeah, that same, those same cuts that we've been seeing Wanda kind of do in the previous episodes, we see that happen to Darcy, that that her TV set that she is watching does that similar cut when the radio starts talking. Yeah. Sorry, that is a very big thing. Oh, I switched scenes. Oh, geez. All right, we're back. After that, a sword agent comes out showing Wu and Darcy a picture of the helicopter that Wanda sees in episode 2. That helicopter, Jimmy asks, when was this? She said, new episode, just aired. And he says, well, why'd you colorize it? And she said, I didn't. Obviously, this is the helicopter that was in color to everyone, including, Wanda. Mm-hmm. And this same helicopter was the drone that was sent in by Monica. Or you could speculate, perhaps. Maybe it's not, maybe it is.
And just for more context, the first 2 episodes are completely in black and white, and then there's a commercial with a toaster that we see a red light on, and that's the first sign of color we see in the first 2 episodes. And then this helicopter is also a red color that we see. And then when Wanda and the lady are talking, and she breaks the glass in her hand. It cuts her, and there's blood that we see as well.
Yep,
and then the end of the second episode turns into color, and each episode we see is a different decade. So the first one's 50s, second one was 60s, and the third one was 70s. And then this one is today, but it's still,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's today.
Yeah, so episode 4 was in the current MCU time, so 2025. And then the episodes are, this other thing that's happening in these decade style shows. So after that, I'm trying to remember. After the helicopter is when
they send the hazmat suit guy in.
Right. So they send a guy in a hazmat suit through the sewers. Obviously thinking we can't go into the town directly. Maybe we can send him in through the sewer to get into the town. So they send a guy with, tied up to make sure they can pull him back out if they need to. They send a guy in a hazmat suit down into the sewer. As soon as the guy crosses the barrier, he turns into the Beekeeper that we saw in episode 1. Or 2.
That was episode 2.
Episode 2.
Yeah, because after she sees them, she rewinds, and then that's when the color happens.
Right. Yep, you're right. Yep. Yeah. So he turns into the Beekeeper that we see in episode 2. And then again, we see that scene played out kind of from the Beekeeper's perspective. He gets out of the sewer, hears Vision say Wanda, and then hears Wanda say no, and then it cuts from that scene. We don't see what happens.
Still have yet to see what happens with the Beekeeper.
Yeah.
From Wanda's perspective, she does like a rewind. And then while Darcy is watching that episode, the same thing happens. It just cuts, and then they're back in the house, and like nothing happened.
Yep.
Oh.
What happened to Beekeeper, man? And then after that is the big episode 3 moment of Monica Rambeau kind of coming out of Geraldine, out of her character, kind of realizing with Wanda talking about Pietro that her brother was killed by Ultron, and kind of triggering Wanda back into our reality, kind of re-triggering that, reopening that trauma. And we see this scene from a different perspective. We see it from Darcy's first, where we see Wanda approach Geraldine or Monica Rambeau, and then it hard cuts to a different part of the episode.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I guess it is in episode 3 what happened. It cut, and then we went back to Vision talking, and then back to Wanda. So it's
and then Wanda just said that Monica Rambeau left, and Vision had a conversation with the neighbors, and they were like, "We don't trust Geraldine. She doesn't even have a home here, and she doesn't have family. We don't know where she comes from." And then Vision goes inside. He's like, "Where's Geraldine?" And Wanda's like, "Oh, she went home," but he doesn't say anything about it because he doesn't want to upset Wanda.
Right. And we see that scene play out differently this time than we saw in the episode 3 ending. Which baffled me. That, because I was like, okay, cool, we're going to see this ending again. And then it played out completely differently. This time when Vision walks in, he doesn't look quite right. We'll get
you're
there.
Jumping ahead.
I jumped ahead. During the cut, after Darcy realizes the cut, we cut again back into Wanda world. She is talking to Geraldine and saying, "You're not my friend. You don't belong here. You are trespassing. You are trespassing here. You don't belong here." And then promptly using her little hand chaos magic, and forces her out through all the walls in the houses, outside, back into the real world that we see her in the episode 3 ending, where she's vaulted out of the energy field.
And then Wanda repairs all the damage, and then Vision comes in, and it's like, it never happened.
Right. Yeah, repaired all the damage so that it never happened when Vision comes back in. And like I said, this scene plays out very differently than the episode 3 ending. When Vision comes in, he's not looking quite right. The dialogue is already different as well. And then
a lot darker.
It's a lot darker. Yeah, it's a lot darker, saying we could leave and no, we can't.
Because this whole time we're in a sitcom. We're hearing laugh tracks and a whole ton of stuff. And I'll get more into that later in the talk.
No,
But
yeah, but
so
yeah.
Vision comes in and like no one's laughing, and he's like super serious, and you can sense that change of tone in the
Yep.
scene.
Yep. And when she turns around to see Vision, because she's holding her children, she's holding Tommy and Billy. So when she turns around to talk to Vision, she now sees the Vision we were left with in Infinity War at the end of Infinity War, with his not so indestructible head and the gaping hole where his Mind Stone used to be.
Yeah, his whole body's gray. His eyes are gray.
Gray, dead-eyed body. Yeah, it's a sight.
Yeah, it's something like you never could have guessed that was going to happen when it did. Okay, yeah. Continue.
And so obviously her seeing that again pulls her out of this reality of like this isn't my world. This is, she's trying. It seems like she's now trying to escape, trying to deal with the loss of Vision. Obviously that she can't handle the loss of Vision. And he says that we could go anywhere, we could leave, and she says, "No, we can't. I have everything under control."
She's like, "This is our home now.
This is our home now." Yeah.
She's ready, and she's just like, "Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Don't worry about it. And I have the pants on."
And then Wanda says, "What do we want to watch tonight?" And they sit on the couch, and the episode ends as if nothing happened. And it ends with Jimi Hendrix.
All right. Now, my side of the conversation is the lore, and there's two things that are completely irrelevant that I'm super excited about. So Jimmy Woo, we were first introduced to him in Ant-Man and the Wasp because he was the FBI agent assigned to Scott Lang to make sure he was staying in his house arrest. So Scott, he has a conversation with Woo, and he's telling him how he keeps his daughter entertained with close-up magic. And he does a card trick where he makes a card appear. And Woo is like, "How did you do that? Can you show me how to do that?" And like that's the last we hear of it. But then when Monica Rambeau first meets Woo, he does the card trick to pull out his like business card and hands it to her. I thought that was a neat little callback.
I knew his little hand thing with the card was weird. I didn't put that together. Yep. That's funny.
I saw that. I was like, oh. And then the second pretty irrelevant thing. So this episode is the first time we're introduced to Darcy being in this section of Marvel, and obviously she's taking notes. She's trying to figure out what's going on in Westview. In the very first episode, the credits, it pulls out from a TV with a girl's hand taking notes and then closing a notebook. That was Darcy in the very first episode.
Yeah, because we see that shot again, basically the exact same shot pasted into this episode of it pulling away with her writing in the notebook. Yep.
I thought that was like they were telling us that in the very first episode, but didn't put it into context till the fourth.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now for some lore. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the Beekeeper.
Sit close to your mic. You're cutting out for me.
I'll start with the Beekeeper.
Okay.
So, a lot of the rumors about him, it's pretty, like, we obviously don't know what's happening to him. And there's a lot of speculation that he's going to end up being the villain Swarm, who's essentially a sentient body of bees. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're grasping at straws on that one. So, we'll just take care of that one. Second, one thing I didn't know until today. Monica Rambeau. Okay, so the actor who plays her is confirmed to be in Captain Marvel 2. So that's already confirmed. 2, Monica Rambeau is the superhero Photon, who is essentially Captain Marvel, but she also has the ability to change her appearance and a bunch of other stuff and like phase through objects. And in the episode, she gets thrown out of the dome. And when she lands on the ground, she still has a bit of Wanda's like red energy on her and stuff. And there's people think that she gets her powers from exiting the barrier with Wanda's magic still on her, and like the energy induced from that is how she gets her powers. And then they think that she's going to be a force to combat Wanda by the end of the series. which I think is pretty interesting because she's like the character itself is Photon. She is a superhero. So it's going to come eventually. It's just a matter of time if it will be in this series or not. Because it will definitely happen in Captain America 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull out some more notes that I prepared. Not really notes, just kind of reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have structure for how I'm going through these. I'm just saying them when they come to mind. So okay, the dead Vision. That's a big thing. Like Vision and Black Widow. Those are the two characters who are like dead at the end of Endgame when everyone's brought back. Vision and Black Widow. They're dead.
Yep.
But obviously Vision's here. So how does that happen? There are two things I've done research on. So the first one that's a little more relevant. There's a hero called Wonder Man. Are you familiar with Wonder Man?
I am familiar with Wonder Man.
He's essentially Vision, but
sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say like
yeah. Go ahead.
It's not that he's essentially Vision. In the comics, Wonder Man was essentially the Ultron to Vision. So Vision in the MCU is a part of Ultron.
He's Vision with a real brain.
Right. Wonder Man was was part of creating Vision in the Vision line of comics.
So what I'm going with on this is I watched a video earlier today and it was saying how Vision before WandaVision never really showed signs of like super speed. Like he can move fast and stuff, but not super speed. Where Wonder Man has super speed. And in episode 3, when she has to get the doctor to help deliver the babies, he puts him on his back and super speeds back to the house. So that's one theory I've heard, is that they've gotten Wonder Man in on this, and he's playing Vision, but because of Wanda's magic, he doesn't know that that's what he's doing. And then another more, like, news concept, I guess, is Kevin Feige. There was an extra credit scene that was pulled, and in it, I think it was at the end of Infinity War, it was supposed to be, and it was Wanda going up to what's the bags they put dead bodies in?
Body bag.
Sure. Body bag. That's it.
The bag that they put the body in.
Anyways, it's Wanda going up to a body bag and unzipping it and seeing Vision's dead body. So at the end of Infinity War, she goes to get Vision's dead body, and that was pulled. So that's why some people are like, Wanda's a little doing something.
So going off that, Dead Vision. What if Dead Vision's literally just like he could be a puppet,
an animated Dead Vision?
Yeah, just it's like just he's being puppeted by Wanda for this illusion.
Yeah, so the biggest part of this episode is that we truly realize that Wanda has control over every aspect of this place.
I still think it's not. I still think it's not just her. I'm still in on this that there's another higher power. But yes, but Wanda's definitely got of this right now. She's got the control.
Yeah. So those are my two theories about Vision. And I guess going back to a more of a small detail and more of a note to Marvel for their fabulous work at small details. So when they're monitoring Westview, we see that it's a hexagon, and different intros and outros of the show itself are hexagon based. And then in the episode where Monica gets thrown out, she's wearing octagon earrings. So they're trying to say like that might have been a sign that would have been like a clue to Wanda that wasn't like normal for her show. And then also with the Beekeeper, like obviously hazmat suit, Beekeeper suit are pretty similar, and then his rope turned into a jump rope. When they tried reeling him back in, it turned into a jump rope when he went through the barrier, so it didn't work. And then also when Monica first gets pulled into Westview, she's wearing her badge with like the sword logo and stuff on it. And then in the episode where she gets thrown out, she's wearing the necklace with the sword logo on it. So they're trying to say, like, there are elements that are staying with the characters when they come in. So and people are trying to place elements that other characters have already shown with something they could be in the outside world. And that brings me to my next point, Agnes.
Yep. Can I start before you go?
Yeah, you can go for it with the IDs.
Yep. So the ID, when they're IDing characters, the only characters that we don't get IDs for, and I might be wrong about the second one, but the only for sure character we don't get an ID for, a missing person, is Agnes, and then the second one I believe is Dottie. Dottie, I don't think got a missing person one either that I remember. I don't think that holds much weight, but it is interesting.
I didn't really pick up that they were all missing persons. I picked up it was more that they went there for a missing persons because they were trying to pick out who each person was and then figure out who they were in real life.
Oh, that's true.
From the video.
Yeah.
So I think they were just called there for one missing person and then they just started identifying everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that might be more the case. Yeah, but either way, the only person who wasn't identified in the real world was Agnes. And Agnes has been very prominent in every episode.
Yeah, she's practically a supporting actress.
Yep. And even in episode 3 with her little weird, because we're all stop it. That whole thing.
Agnes has some sort of sense about that. But okay, another thing I saw was because it took Wanda so much focus on Geraldine to like throw her out and like repair and everything. They're saying that she temporarily lost control of like the simulation, and that's why Herb and Agnes were aware. But so that brings me to another point. I'll get back to Agnes in a second. Is in the layout of the house, when Vision's outside, we see the front door, and then they go in, and then to the right, that's where Wanda and Geraldine are, and then we have like the baby room and everything, and she gets thrown out of that wall. That would have been the front of the house.
That would have been the driveway. Yep, that's what. I was thinking too.
We don't see that. I don't know if that's a continuity error with Marvel or anything, or if there's actually an explanation for that. But we see Monica's body very clearly flying through the area when she gets thrown out.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know how they would have missed that since they were outside standing there, unless she really has that much control. But that also kind of contradicts the idea that if she lost control, the other people would become aware of their surroundings.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
there's a bot in my chat.
Ooh. Maybe that'll be explained, but yeah, probably. I would be willing to bet it was just an oopsie.
Yeah. So okay, that brings me back to Agnes. One thing I saw that I'm pretty excited about. So we're still trying to figure out who the big bad is of WandaVision. People are thinking like, oh, Wanda's just going to lose it. But if you really think about it, she's just trying to deal with emotional trauma. So obviously she's going to have a couple tendencies that are a little broken. But the biggest there's 3. Well, 4 that I've heard. So there's obviously Mephisto, who's essentially Satan.
Big bad devil daddy.
Big bad devil daddy. And then there's Nightmare, who I haven't heard a ton about, but he's still kind of like, he could definitely be introduced. And then the Grim Reaper, who's the brother of Wonder Man.
Yep.
He's the one who brought Wonder Man back to life when he died in the comics. But then, this is, okay. So there's a lot of speculation that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness.
Okay, I'm going to stop you really quick. So your research that you said you did it involve the New Rockstars YouTube channel? I only ask because that's what I watch. That's what I've been keeping up on theories with, and that like to a fault. These are Eric Voss's theories. Like,
1 second, let me see.
Okay, well, I don't mean to undermine what you're doing. I just find it funny that like we both have the same.
Oh no, it's a channel called Heavy Spoilers.
Oh, Heavy Spoilers. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it earlier today. I'm not coming up with all these theories on my own. By the way, full credit to Heavy Spoilers.
Yeah, that is important. Like a lot of these are just stuff we've picked up from other people, obviously, as well.
So essentially, Agatha Harkness is, she's like the first witch. She was on trial at the very first Salem witch trials, and she's a sorceress. Like that's her thing. And where is it? I gotta find the picture. So we see Agnes wear a circular like gem pretty regularly. So that brings me back to Geraldine / Monica Rambeau going in and then still having something similar to what she came in with. Agatha Harkness wears a circular gem, like pretty much all the time. So and because she's showing a sense of awareness and kind of trying to get close with Wanda and pushing her and just trying to be near her all the time, I could definitely see that being a possibility in introducing her. And I got goosebumps.
Well, I think because with Nightmare, whether it's Nightmare, Mephisto, or Death, or Agatha Harkness, mm-hmm. I think the idea here is that, like, yes, Wanda's in control, but to how much capacity? Like I keep saying, I think there's a higher power, and I think it's somebody, Dead Vision could be foreshadowing her. Her herself is being puppeted by something else. So they're trying to siphon her power. The more she's using it, the more they're getting. And obviously she's getting stronger. We're seeing her do more and more things as this series goes on.
Yeah, the very first episode, she was just making things levitate.
Yep.
That was about it. Now she's throwing people, she's repairing things, she's bursting water pipes, and then another good theory I saw for Mephisto, they were saying that he could be manifesting himself into the kids.
Yep.
Because obviously they're coming and growing really fast, and it was really out of nowhere. I mean, we don't know what happened when Wanda and Vision put their beds together, but...
Man, those branches, they came a knocking.
But I could definitely see a higher power being in control of Wanda getting pregnant, because Mephisto would 100% have the power to do that. Well, there we go.
mean, Mephisto made Ghost Rider, so yeah.
Yep. What was I going to say? Because I think it was Mephisto and Nightmare could both be like manifesting themselves into each kid.
Yep.
So it'll definitely be interesting to see how that plays out. Just from like the trailers and stuff, we know it's going to get more glitchy because there are scenes in the trailers where Wanda's like spinning in circles and the stuff in front of her is changing and going through different decades and stuff. So it's going to get unstable. But that's one thing you don't see as much is in the trailer, they very rarely touched on what the kids are doing. Like,
yep.
We don't know what's going to happen with them.
Yeah, there was maybe like a couple clips. Like we saw them being held pretty much for the most part.
Yeah.
And like I think the next episode might be that like other clip we see of them both being held by Wanda and Vision. I think that's it. That's all we've seen in the trailer of the kids.
We still know there's going to be a Halloween episode because Wanda and Vision wear their comic book outfits. And go ahead.
I was going to say that. So now knowing we have Dead Vision, the trailer gave that away as well, because Vision walks up to Agnes in her car where she looks like she's in a dazed trance state, and he looks like he touches her and kind of pulls her out of it, and the first thing she says, or at least in this cut up trailer, is, "Are you dead?" And Vision says, "No, why would you ask that?" And she says, "Because you are."
Oh.
So now it's like that, again, that matrix, collapsing, that simulation breaking of things are slipping out now. Like you're dead. This is not you. You're dead.
And so this episode ended in the 70s. And based on the trailers and stuff, I would guess the trailers made it seem like it goes at least up till the 90s when the simulation is still kind of intact. And then we see footage of Wanda and Vision like together in their normal clothes we see in Infinity War, like fighting. So my guess is this was 70s. We're gonna have something set in the 80s. It'll there's 5 episodes left or 4?
4. I think it's an 8-episode season.
Okay, if there's 4 left, I'm guessing we'll have 80s in the next episode where it focuses, it'll do a back and forth pretty much for the rest of the time, where it'll have 80s in the next episode, and that'll go more into Vision trying to see what's actually happening in Westview, Wanda trying to make sure he doesn't, and stuff like that. Then the episode after that will be more on the outside and how they're developing plans to break down the simulation. And then I think third episode, the 90s, that's going to be when it all goes to shit. Wanda loses control. We meet a big bad, and that'll all accumulate, and then we'll have the finale.
Yeah. Yep.
That's my educated guess as a professional fucking Hallsome breakdown specialist.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I would say too, because I was shocked that episode 4 is the one where we kind of really pulled back the curtain. It's like, hey, here's Sword. Here's actually what's going on. Yep. I kind of figured if they were going to do it, it was going to be later. So obviously, yes, something's going to happen soon. Within the next 2
episodes. That's why I think they're not going to introduce an actual villain until even maybe the very final episode.
So Elizabeth Olsen, there was like conversation between her and Kevin Feige, that there isn't necessarily a big bad. Like there's I
think I heard that.
I guess what her words were like, if there is one, you won't even notice, is what she said.
Because I mean, they're definitely going to be going for a season 2. So
you think?
I think they will.
I guess it depends on how these go. I honestly kind of figured it was going to be 8 episodes and done, moving on.
I don't know. I kind of figured they would do at least one more stuff related to it, just to fill the space until they can start pumping out movies. Like from a business standpoint, I think they would do more episodes since they're still kind of trying to rebuild the cinema business.
Sorry, I am reading chat, by the way. I'm not always responding. The big bad is the psychological trauma that Wanda has experienced.
Yeah, I saw something like that. Like, the whole thing is Wanda trying to come to terms that Vision's actually dead. These kids might be fake. She just wants her perfect world to stay perfect. And anything interrupting that, like... Because, I mean, after the events of Endgame, she went head-to-head with Thanos. Like, she's got to be pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm. Well, even in Endgame, because it was like, we see her broken, because she even said
she's crying. She's like, you took everything
from me. Yeah, so
now she just wants everything back.
Right. Even in that, like, the Tony Stark funeral where she's talking to Hawkeye, I think. Even then, she's like, she doesn't seem like she's coped yet with the loss of Vision. She seems like she's like, yeah, he died, but why? For what? And so it's like, obviously that
I have to go back and watch Endgame, actually. Mm-hmm. At least the end. I'll start at the circles. And
start at portals. Hi, Landon. Thank you for stopping by. And Will, thank you also for stopping by. Sorry for everybody that I'm ignoring. I'm not ignoring you. I don't want to interrupt our flow. But hello, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're having a lot of fun talking about this.
It's very exciting. All right. Where do we go from here?
So you had mentioned the hexagons.
Yep.
That's kind of, I've seen a lot about that. Like, obviously, hexagons, 6 sides. The clock, going back to the watch. Sorry, the Strucker watch commercial. Yep. The 6 is missing on that Strucker watch. Or no. Sorry, not the watch. The radio in episode 2. The 6.
You know what?
The 6 is missing.
You know what's a symbol of the devil? 666.
That's what I'm saying. That's why people are like, Mephisto! Yeah, people are like kind of playing into this Mephisto of like, okay, so the hexagons, like that's 6 sides. There's a lot of 6s, kind of 6 popping up everywhere. Like it could be kind of foreshadowing Mephisto in that sense.
A whole lot of things we could get into about the commercials in their own. Is like why Hydra would because to our knowledge, Wanda doesn't really have she wasn't really experienced that much with Hydra.
Well, I mean, she was. I mean, obviously, Strucker was with Hydra.
Oh yeah.
So they were being
kind of forgotten who that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. They were being experimented on by Hydra.
Just the fact, since she's obviously in control of this show, she's making these commercials happen. So her relation, I guess it could be more of a subliminal thing in her head where she's just
I think it's more just her subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I think it's just more her subconscious coming out, because really, like, and it's weird. We've gotten two references to Hydra. Had the Strucker watch and the Hydra soap. We've only gotten one to anything of Avengers. We got the Stark toaster.
Yep.
Which is odd, I would say. Like, you would think.
Well, I mean, in the period, Hydra, they were already in Shield, weren't they?
Yeah, by this time, they would have found out Shield was.
Yeah. Because that's another thing, is like why they went to Sword for this instead of Shield, and they're talking about how like right now, after the events of Endgame, Shield isn't as reliable as they were in the golden age of Stark Industries.
Well, is Shield still around? I thought like after Winter Soldier, I thought Shield was done. I thought that was.
Is it done?
I thought they were done, and that's kind of why like Stark took over with the Avengers. The Stark Industries kind of took over and became the new, sort of pseudo Shield. I thought.
Oh, that's another thing. There's a leak of a new Avengers Funko Pop that includes Wiccan and Speed. So
I want it. I'll be honest. I want it to happen. Obviously, Billy and Tommy are Wiccan.
That's why I put leak in quotation marks, because that's something people could just fake and put out there. And be like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, like I want that to happen.
I do think it will happen, because like Avengers is pretty much like milk dry. So they're gonna have to introduce new Avengers. I did see something that was saying Chris Evans, he wanted to be done with Captain America, but now he's like in talks of maybe making a cameo or something.
I saw that too, yeah.
So that'll be interesting how that's played, unless it's just a super CGI'd old man Chris Evans again. But
no, I think because they had said it wasn't going to be old man Cap, it was going to be Cap in his prime. It's going to be Chris Evans Cap. So, but he seems strongly against it, because he even said himself,
yeah, that's still going to be a long ways away.
Yeah, he's like, Cap's arc is done in my mind. Like, I feel like they wrapped up Cap's arc. Anything else has to be for his character, and it can't just be a cash grab. So I feel like they're not going to do it. I feel like Chris Evans is going to fight them tooth and nail to not do it. Shit, I had something and I forgot what it was. Oh, okay. So obviously you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to shout. Obviously you were talking about, you think, somewhere around episode 6, in those last few episodes, simulation breaks down, Wanda and Vision fighting. We know, again, I'll bring this up again. We know that Elizabeth Olsen is confirmed cast for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Do you think, now given the way this episode went down, do you think they are setting up Wanda to be the villain of that movie? Or some kind of small villain, some kind of small conflict for that movie?
Okay. So much is going through my head right now. So, obviously, Doctor Strange isn't unfamiliar with defeating or battling big mythological type beings, like obviously with Dormammu. And I'm pretty sure in the comics he's fought and defeated Mephisto before. Mephisto. Sorry, I'm not familiar with him.
Mr. Fester.
Mr. Fester. And the Manifester.
The Manifester.
So I could see them. I don't know. So, like, obviously, Wanda wants this to stay, but if she's gonna crack and lose it and go towards a villainous side, I could see her maybe like teaming up with someone. Like, I personally, I don't see her being a standalone villain in a whole movie. Because obviously she's had a fairly minor role in the Avengers in general. Like, she's been there, she's helped out, but she's never really been the focus as much as Captain and Iron Man. But I mean, they've all had solo movies. But so I could see her like cracking, and then a big bad, not even a big bad, I could see a team up with another minor villain. I'll go with that. And then that's what Doctor Strange has to try to fight against. Did you watch? I know it's a completely different universe. It's kind of a tangent, but did you watch Wonder Woman 1984?
I didn't.
And that one, it was a dual villain battle because they introduced Cheetah, and they also had I can't remember his name, but the main villain.
Yeah.
So I could see that kind of being a little bit of a trend since like they did that with 1984. Marvel was like, we should have two minor villains just to get us more experience to the new world they're trying to create and kind of
Right.
engage the audience to do more looking into all these small villains and how they relate to the Avengers. I think that would be a good move because yeah, we know, oh, Wanda, she was a twin, her brother's dead. Oh, and
How do you
everyone
know
around her
that?
dies.
You're a trespasser.
But like, unless people are actually like engaged and know comics and look stuff up about her, like there's a lot more to it than just that.
Right.
But yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
do think
obviously,
that
like,
she's
this
leaning
whole-
towards the mentally unstable side.
Yeah. I really hope, because obviously, like, there's kind of that three-way thing going on with her being in Multiverse of Madness and Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch being in Spider-Man: Homecoming 3, whatever the fuck their working title is for it. That's gonna keep getting longer the more we get up to it.
Spider-Man 3 with no black suit.
Spider Monkey 3. That's what I want. I want a Spider Monkey movie. So my thinking kind of is like yes, we're gonna get to the end of this series. Maybe they're setting up for a season 2, maybe not. But I think either way, whether or not the series itself is gonna end, I think with her dimension, like her little bubble shattering, and she will, like, her and Vision fighting. I think that Vision is still going to be her puppeted Vision. I don't think it's going to be good guy Vision at all, because that's kind of impossible.
My only thing with that is like, obviously Wanda has a ton of power and control, but if we go back to, I think it was episode 2 when they did the For the Children show thing, when they're doing the magic show, he's obviously exhibiting super speed and super strength, and being able to fly. Like, because her powers are growing with each episode and she hasn't exhibited that much, unless she has more control than we're giving to her, I don't think she would be able to control a puppet to that extent of showing the powers. Because when he was flying, like, he was essentially drunk because he had gum in his gears.
Right.
So I don't think she would voluntarily let him use powers and then be like, oh, stop, and then try to cover up if she's controlling him.
It's true. So then it kind of comes back to, again, obviously, too, if she is in control, I mean, maybe like she knows this kind of, like, I don't know, like, why would she let something like that happen? That Vision just fucks up in this way. It's like,
because it's taking the side of a TV show.
Yeah,
you could put it on like, hey, it's content. Like,
right.
Like it's a TV show, and the audience knows who these characters are. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they explain it.
Yeah,
but I guess that's why I kind of see a season 2, because I feel like there's so much to explain, and we're getting close to the end that they would have to cram a lot of stuff in less than 25 minutes an episode.
Yeah, that's true. They are 25-minute episodes, aren't they?
It's about balancing the real life versus the content in the episode.
Yeah. Well, and I was to say now, like, they've pulled back the curtain, so now we have to spend time in the real world in each episode as well.
Yep.
Because
now,
we can't.
The time in both is going to be half.
Right. Like, we're disillusioned to this TV land stuff now, so like we need to know what's going on the outside as well. So it's going to be split in half of what we're dealing with.
That's why, it's going to be tricky for them to navigate, because obviously with this episode it was good because up to now we've seen everything that they're covering in the real world, but now they have to start doing new stuff in each. So that's why I think, the next episode might be a little more focused on the reality again, with a few more tie-ins to like them trying to get inside, but I think it's going to crumble really quick, so they don't have to juggle 2 different shows in the same show.
Yep.
So
I was like, because they pulled back the curtain, it is going to crumble very quickly. Like, we're gonna we're going to have one reality here very soon.
I'm excited for the Halloween episode.
I would probably say that's probably the next episode.
Yeah, I would think so.
And I bet that's where it's like if it doesn't break down completely at the end of that one, it's going to be the 6th episode then that breaks down, because it's just too much now. That's like what's happening that they can't just go back to sitcoms again, because it's like, well, what the fuck? Like this isn't normal.
There's something I saw. I don't know how real it is, but it was saying the first like 2-3 episodes were actually recorded in front of a live studio audience for the effect. I don't know how true that is, but they're like, yeah, they had like a laugh sign and stuff, and then when they wanted it deep, they just didn't turn it on. Like everyone in the audience was actually getting affected. I don't really believe it. They show a full circular set. I was like, nah, but someone said it, and I was like, that'd be pretty interesting. Like I could see it being a thing Marvel does for authenticity, but
I don't know though. I don't
know. I'll have to do more research into that one.
Maybe the first episode, and then they kind of cut it at the end there with the heart, with Mr. Hart choking. Yeah. That would be about the only thing I could believe. It's just because everything after that episode 2, episode 3, like the quality of the cameras.
Yeah. Like just how that's the other thing that got me is like I was all for the first episode being in the 50s, but I actually wish they would have used less quality cameras.
So you jogged my memory. That's what I wanted to talk about. When we see the radio conversation of Wu trying to get a hold of Wanda, right? We see obviously Darcy's watching that. Wanda and Dottie both react to that on Darcy's screen. That is a different view than what we see. Obviously, that's just the camera cutting back from Wanda to Dottie, just still pulled back. What we see is that HD, more modern camera zooming in on both of them as they're freaking out, trying to figure out what this is.
Oh yeah,
and right. Then we see then we see the radio break. We don't see any of that from Darcy's view. So there's a lot that's going on that's like it's getting just cut from what this radio static radiation is.
Really, like even in what Darcy was watching, we didn't hear. Well, I think we heard once when Wu was like, "Wanda, can you hear me?" And then we see like a look of concern, and then it cuts to the rag on the hand saying, "You know how to get blood out of white cloth? You do it yourself."
Yeah. So after we hear that first time, that's kind of when Wanda like cuts it, or somebody cuts it.
Oh shit! Cut the cameras!
Right. And then that's when in episode 2 we're seeing the more weird take on it. And that's that's exactly what kind of happened in the first episode too. Is it's all that 50s sitcom TV style. Right up until stop it, and it's back into that modern camera pushing in on everybody. There's no laugh track, there's no nothing. So it's very much that same thing. Obviously it's deliberate. It's very deliberate. One second. Howdy, Shadow. Thank you for stopping by. This is Jared and I's breakdown show, Flecking Hallsome Breakdowns. We are talking about WandaVision Episode 4 on Disney+, the new Marvel MCU TV series that's come out. We're kind of talking about that, giving our theories, what we think is happening, what we think is going to happen, all that good jazz. So thank you for stopping by. All right, go ahead, Jared.
I wasn't really going to say anything. I was saying we're getting close to 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
I think
closing remarks. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
It's closing remarks. Sigh. All right, that's it. No, I think next episode is the Halloween episode. I think that's gonna, because it makes sense with the trailer that they would mention he's dead again in the next episode.
Only thing is, like, in the Halloween episode, I got to feel that was more, like, I don't know, not 80s, I guess. Because of the way Agnes looked, like, just the way her hair was styled in the car and stuff. That's what I was thinking, more maybe 90s, but...
True, maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
With how fast stuff is progressing, next episode could be 90s. They might just skip over the 80s.
Yeah, they could just skip it. Also, in that trailer, they do show a lot of, like, kind of breaking down, again, like with her... weed whacking or whatever, the wall. There's a lot of that happening in that trailer as well, with people just watering and overflowing plants. So I really do think that's going to be the next episode, and we're going to watch as this kind of breaks down in front of everybody.
I think our excitement gets conveyed very well.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh yeah.
so excited.
So with that, so if all of you that have kind of hung out tonight, kind of stuck around, if you like this, be sure to stop by next week, same time, same same Flecking Hallsome time, same Flecking Hallsome place, right here on my channel and Jared's channel, twitch.tv/jflex, 8 p.m.
Yes, sir.
We will be breaking down episode 5, just like we did tonight. And again, kind of going over what we think is going to be happening. This is a little bit more rambly because we're trying to get everything we think from all the episodes kind of onto this one.
Episodes.
Yeah, so hopefully next week is a little bit more concise and more to the point of things that happened in episode 5.
And since we're getting into more of just breaking down one episode instead of 3, it might get cut down to like 45 minutes instead of an hour. It'll be fluid.
Yeah, it'll be more fluid than tonight.
It's work in progress.
Right, we were kind of bouncing all over the place, but we had a lot to talk about. We had a lot of ground to cover tonight.
And we held it all in just for this.
Yeah, we did.
We joined at like 7:30 to make sure everything was set up, and I was like, Trey, you gotta stop. You gotta hold back.
It's like, well, you know that even this morning. I was like, I said the thing about Dead Vision, and you're like, save it for 8 p.m. And I'm like, I just told you that I shit my pants watching Dead Vision show up. No one wants to hear that. I don't know what.
Up to a Snapchat from Trey's like, just watch episode 4. Holy shit.
Yeah. I was excited, man. It was good. I was like, literally that. Even just seeing the blip stuff in that first like 5 minutes, that was like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah,
this isn't
really bring you back into reality. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, this isn't what, like, because we seen it in Far From Home, but it was played for laughs and that, like the
band showing up in the gym.
Yeah, this time it was like people are scrambling, trying to get a hold, like very much more of a disaster of like, I need to call my family.
There's another little detail I'll touch on before we close. Is so Monica was the first person to get back to the sword agency. She was the first one to report in, and so they're like, and then when she goes in, you can barely see it, but they have like 3 TVs or monitors up top playing like news, and the line on the news screen says, "Families reunited and embracing their loved ones," and that was like. So obviously Monica's here. Her mom died. She doesn't have anyone. She's the first to report back to work. Everyone else is probably with her. So that's not really prevalent to anything. It was just like kind of driving in that she's alone. Like work is her life now.
Yep. Anyway, great episode. Great fucking episode. I was so happy.
So the whole thing, the past few episodes have been shot in normal square space because that's old TV, and then this one obviously starts in full definition, and then at the very end cut back into down, square for the closing credits. I like that detail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna stop now.
All right, yeah, we gotta cut this one.
Yeah, so come check us out next week. See you then.
Next week, episode 5, 8 o'clock. Be there because we'll be here. All right, thank y'all. Love y'all. Thank you for coming out. Good night.